أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين وأصلي وأسلم على نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه ومن تمسك بسنته إلى يوم الدين أما بعد. It would be appropriate to mention, considering that we are talking about the Qur'an, وَالرُّجُوعِ إِلَى الْقُرْآنِ, and the return to the Qur'an, that we find to look back and to study فضائل القرآن, to look at the virtues of the Qur'an that may begin to inspire us to live, to become people of Ahlul Qur'an, people of the Qur'an. And as you find Ibn Kathir, Imam al-Mufassirin, has written in great detail in the beginning of his tafsir, talking about the virtues of the Qur'an. And likewise we find inside many books of ahadith, collecting chapters or ahadith about fada'il al-Qur'an, to look at the virtues of the Qur'an. Amongst those ahadith that come to mind, if we look inside Riyadh al-Salihin, is talking about the hadith that the believer who recites the Qur'an وَيَعْمَلُ بِهِ, the believer who recites the Qur'an and carries out the actions of the Qur'an. As we find in the hadith of Bukhari, when Aisha was asked about the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, she mentioned كَانَ خُلُقُهُ الْقُرْآن, his character was the Qur'an. بِأَيِّ مَعْنَى, with which meaning that he stuck to the halal and avoided the haram. So the highest level of being a believer is a person who recites the Qur'an and also implements the Qur'an. That individual's hadith, the parable is given, kal-utrujjati, is like a citron, a type of orange, whose fragrance is good and its taste is sweet. That is the ultimate level of a believer who finds halawatul iman, the sweetness of iman, of not just listening to the melodious recitation of the Qur'an, but also finds the sweetness in the implementation of the Qur'an. And this is one of the many reasons, or the main reasons, that we find weakness of this blessed Muslim ummah is a lack of implementation of the Qur'an. Thus we find the Qur'an mentions kitabun anzalnahu ilayka mubarakun liyadabbaru ayatihi wa liyatadhakkara ulul albab. This is a blessed book that we've sent down upon you, liyadabbaru ayatihi, that you may begin to ponder over its verses. Imam al-Hasan al-Basri mentioned that you begin to liyadabbaru ayatihi bima'na an ta'mala bil-Qur'an or an tutabbiqa al-Qur'an, to ponder over the verses. There's a general meaning of just pondering over the verses, but the hidden meaning is to live according to the Qur'an, to try to implement the Qur'an to the best of one's ability. That's the Qur'an mentioned inside Surah Al-Furqan, the 25th chapter of the Qur'an.
وقال الرسول يا رب إن قوم اتخذوا هذا القرآن مهجورا.
وقال الرسول يا رب إن قوم اتخذوا هذا القرآن مهجورا. The messenger make this statement, O my Lord, indeed my people have abandoned the Qur'an. What is the meaning of Hajrul Qur'an? What does it mean to abandon the Qur'an? Amongst the meanings, the plausible meanings of abandoning the Qur'an is obviously that which is clear, the recitation of the Qur'an. As the Qur'an mentions inside Surah Al-Baqarah as well, Kitab Allahi wara'a dhuhurihim ka'annahum la ya'lamun. Some of us, we throw the book of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala behind our backs as if we don't know. This Qur'an, Al-Qur'anu hujjatun lak or hujjatun alayk. The Qur'an is an evidence for you or an evidence against you, for all of us Muslims. And as we know on the Day of Judgment, a person will be told to read and ascend, to climb. Wherever you stop reading will be your place inside paradise. So the more Qur'an the individual knows, the higher they will begin to ascend, to be with the melodious reciters of the Qur'an, those who lived in implementing the Qur'an. So we should take this lesson, that we try to strive to recite the Qur'an, memorize the Qur'an, recite the Qur'an appropriately, and then we begin to try to take that message of the Qur'an and try to implement it inside our lives. So if we can all go away with just this simple message through these few days of I want to go back and make a stronger commitment towards a book of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, everything else will come and go. If no one knows what your efforts are, what you have done, then know that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows fully well what our intentions are and what we want to achieve. So if a person makes that azmus sadiq, a strong commitment inside their heart, that I want to be an individual who's raised up with the people who recite the Qur'an, who implement the Qur'an. And the highest level of those individuals is none other than the Anbiya, wa ala ra'sihim is none other than the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. That should be our aspiration, to be with him and to be with those individuals or companions who live the life according to the Qur'an. So may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us all the tawfiq and ability to carry out that sincere intention to become people of Ahlul Qur'an. Barakallahu feekum.